Welcome back to Total Living. You know, last year we met several people who faced tragedies like the death of a loved one, physical disabilities, and chronic illnesses. In each person's life, there was a common component that helped them move from victim to victor. That component was faith.
So, you know, I was living in that naivete and illusion that I had accomplished the American dream. I had my own company. I was building a $26 million hotel on Paradise Island in the Bahamas. I'd worked very hard on that project, had a beautiful 6-year-old son. But he wanted to watch a video game. Video games were brand new 20 years ago. And 2 sets of older boys, 2 black teenagers and 2 white teenagers, were playing against each other at the video game. And his mom, he said, "Please, Mom, I want to watch the game. I'll stay right here." She said, "I'm going 2 aisles over. I'm going to pay for a lamp. I'll be back." She was back in about 4 minutes. 17-year-old untrained security guard. She came upon the argument, and she said, "You white boys out this door, and you black boys out this door." She ordered Adam out of the store, not knowing he wasn't with the boys. A pedophile by the name of Otis Toole, a serial killer that FBI is convinced killed Adam, was cruising the toy department, saw Adam ordered out. They believed that Adam was crying outside the store, and Otis Toole grabbed him. I had badgered my way onto the Good Morning America and had gotten to David Hartman because every news producer in the country had turned me down and said, "We don't do cases of missing kids. If we do it for you, we'll have to do it for everybody else." I said, "Why don't you do it for everybody else?" And 2 weeks later, through the grace of God, Adam's remains were found. He was brutally mutilated, and his remains were found. An FBI assistant director with 5 kids, Buck Revell, said, "I'm not buying the BS of the FBI. This is wrong. We should be looking for missing kids." He changed it. As America's Most Wanted became successful in 1987, they supported the show. I've caught 14 FBI's 10 Most Wanted, more than any FBI agent.
Incredible.
I was FBI Man of the Year 4 years.
I always loved sport, and I was always trying to be involved, but I just wasn't physically strong enough. So I never really got to get in there and get dirty, but I was a manager and a scorekeeper and just tried to be involved any way I could. After I found out that I was going to have to be walking with crutches and using a wheelchair, I was so upset for many, many years, and I felt like God was picking on me. I mean, first I was born with spina bifida and was this easy target to be teased, and I didn't have normal control over going to the bathroom because of it, and so I had many humiliating experiences there, and then I had all of these surgeries, and none of them worked, and now I was going to have to start walking on crutches and using a wheelchair. I just felt like God was picking on me, and I didn't know what I had done. I now contend that our biggest limitations are the ones that we place on ourselves. And in 1984, it was the first time there were ever wheelchair exhibition events at the Olympic Games, and the women's 800-meter race was on, and I happened to be coming through the living room at that moment, and I stopped dead in my tracks, watched that race, and I said, "I'm going to do that someday." I committed my life to Christ and to Christian principles about a month before I left for my first Olympic exhibition event in Barcelona. I was going to the Olympic Games for the first time to compete, and the Athletes Village was right on the Mediterranean Sea. So I would go train in the morning and then go have a quiet time reading my Bible and listening to this new contemporary music that I had just been exposed to down by the Mediterranean Sea.
Your faith in everything you do, now that you're retired and you're refocusing on a lot of other activities in your life, your faith is an integral part of who you are and what you're going to be doing still.
My faith is the center of my life. It's the thing around which everything else revolves.
How about that, huh? I never could sit still long enough to study. I couldn't study defenses. Just tell me where the weakness is and tell me what the keys are. That's all I wanted to know. Don't give me the techniques and all of that. I just didn't have the patience for that. Later in life, I found out I was an ADD child. Back then, they would call me a hyper child. Your mom would, he's driving me crazy. He's hyper. And so,
watching on television, you're still a hyper child.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you know what? Howie Long will turn to me and go to me many times, "Hey, man, are you taking your pills?" I'll take them out and shake them. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Is really the story of Terry Bradshaw's success that I just chunked it and I just did it as hard as I could?
You know, a lot of it is that. I am not someone that focuses very well on the fine points. I'm not in everything. In speeches, in broadcasting, in playing quarterback. I do not focus well on the small intricacies of anything. I can create the big picture, and I can do things in a simple way. I got saved on Father's Day, and I think God knew I'm one that's got to have.
It's got to be fireworks.
Exactly.
Got to be fireworks.
And mine was fireworks. Couldn't breathe. Sweat flying, rocking back. I mean, it was unbelievable. So I'll never forget mine.
In your book, you said you still weren't fulfilled even after you were inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
That's the dream of most people. You had the dream career, and yet it's not working and everything else is falling apart. Were you able to put it together and say, why do I do so well over here and I'm fouling up so bad over here?
Yeah, I figured that. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely that, because when you live of the flesh, you die of the flesh.
Last year, we took the show on the road and visited Hollywood. When we come back, some of the highlights of our interviews with the stars. Don't go away.
First, you take a lot of garlic and you put it in some oil. Then you get a little pasta and bring it to the boil. Oh, solo mia! Fresh tomatoes, salt and pepper, and basil just a teeny. And then the main ingredient, the cannellini beanie. Stir it nice, stir it gentle, and put it in a bowl. And then you add the Parmesan that's so good for your soul. There are some, when they eat it, they break into a dance. Most Italians, when they eat it, they go into a trance. If you like it, and you eat it, and you are a dancing fool, then you're eating and you're dancing the pasta fazool. Bon appetit. Thank you so much.